Wrestling Inc. Get up, get going. Happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. It is me, your managing editor of WrestlingInc.com. Joined here as I am every Wednesday by my very good friend to talk all the news of the past 24 hours. It's Brian Wohl. Brian, welcome back to the Wrestling Inc. Daily.
Hey, Nick. Happy Wednesday. How's it going in wrestling for you?
It's going. We have a lot of wrestling. The wrestling news never stops, and we have a lot to get to. News just breaking even just a couple minutes ago that we'll start the show off with here in just a second. Just to let you know, the chat room is open. If you want to jump on in, if you want to leave thumbs up, if you want to leave sad faces, whatever it may be, engage the show. We will throw up your comments throughout the show as we go along. Here we have Chaz Button, TikTok, alluding to some killer cross conversation or carrying cross conversation we'll have in a bit. After the news, if you're in audio form, you're going to get part one of my interview with veteran WWE superstar Tucker, one half of Heavy Machinery. And if you're watching us in video form, that'll be live over on YouTube here at noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. If you want to go watch us, watch the premiere there, jump in the chat room, check out Tucker part one there. At the end of the show for everybody, we're going to talk a little bit about Jake Roberts and AEW, but let's get to it here. News you can use, news will leave a bruise. Yeah, somebody already thrown it up. CM Punk rumored to be going to AEW, hot off the press. That's from Ryan W. This was reported by Fightful Select. I'm sorry, Sean, I don't have a Fightful Select pass. I guess I should probably get one since it's in my journalism field scope, or maybe just hook a brother up, whatever you want to do. So I don't know. I don't know exactly what Sean is reporting. I know that we had heard that there was a possibility that Punk had already signed with AEW, but I don't know if that's the case, but it is something that we've been kind of vetting here for a little while with the site. So I don't know what's going on. My gut is I will believe it when I see it kind of attitude with CM Punk and AEW, just because I know that they had talks early on that did not go very well. I remember being at StarCast in Chicago when they were unable to get Punk to sign with AEW early on, and how they were, I was hearing buzz that AEW's upset that Conrad could get Punk and they couldn't get Punk, whatever, so, and, I just don't know what the relationship with Punk and Cabana is. That's the big thing too, is like, I thought for sure when the Punk AEW conversation fell apart the first time, that's why Cabana got hired, because they didn't have to worry about Punk being around. I don't know what that relationship is like. I don't know if that's a hurdle, not a hurdle, but that's the big thing. And that's why I've always thought Punk wasn't there right now, is Cabana, because Cabana's there.
It's a safe assumption to make. And also, I'm sure CM Punk is a very expensive hire.
Well, they got monies right now, and they got this, other show, Rampage, that's coming out. Mm-hmm. So, look, I mean, the timing's right. They're coming to Chicago. Like, you want to do a big thing in Chicago at All Out. CM Punk is certainly a big thing in Chicago. I mean, there's a lot of reasons to do it.
Now is the time to spend.
Yeah, I just don't know what the relationship is like with the parties. So, I mean, like, again, I'm very much great. Okay, cool. Maybe they're talking. I will believe it when I see it when it comes to CM Punk and AEW, or WWE for that matter.
He has said openly over the years that he would be interested if the situation were right. So maybe they found the right situation for him. It's very possible.
Yeah, and while we're talking about big signings, I guess I'll throw in the PWInsider.com report that there's been no discussion internally about Daniel Bryan returning to WWE. He is not listed on the internal WWE roster. There are some people in WWE who take this as Bryan is signing or will eventually sign with AEW. No confirmation. The website, WWE's website, still has Bryan as an alumni. What can be confirmed is that Daniel Bryan was not part of a recent list of talent plans for licensing and merchandising for 2021 to 2022 that was put together for the company. And furthermore, Bryan not scheduled for any future Mattel action figure releases, which is a pretty big tell, because the company does this when they're doing all their licensing, quarterly or whatever. Here's what we're going to be pushing. Here's the people we're pushing for the next 3 months. Here's what we're going to be making money on. For them to not include Daniel Bryan in anything is a big tell right now.
Yeah, that's very telling. Man, is there a scenario where AEW will sign both CM Punk and Daniel Bryan? Is that like how much would that change the entire landscape of AEW? I mean, oh my goodness.
It would be very, very big if AEW is able to land and Bryan in a very similar time frame. Like if they can do that I don't know, I don't know if it's Hulk Hogan-esque, right, to WCW, but it's a big change, man. It would be a very big change. And, Rob Humphrey here saying, Tony Khan has said he has some big signings on the way, and it looks like he may not be kidding. I mean, yeah, Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, those are huge gets if that's what they get,
I mean, I think those two men are pretty much the most identified with their generation of wrestlers. Those would be like the two top guys. Maybe Samoa Joe, AJ Styles-ish, but AJ, I don't know. Is he considered the same generation as those guys? He's a couple years ahead.
Yeah, I don't know that I would pit, because when I think of Daniel Bryan and Punk, I think of like Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe, that Ring of Honor class. Yeah, that I guess I think I don't know that I would put AJ in that class, but regardless, like I kind of still thought that Ring of Honor might have a shot here, at grabbing one of these guys to kind of really get back to their roots, but I that's looking like diminishing chances day by day,
Yeah, and there's always the chance that AEW could work with other companies as they have already. So that I wouldn't say that the door is entirely shut, but man, it really seems like there is a very strong possibility that AEW will sign both CM Punk and Daniel Bryan.
Yeah, that's huge. It's huge if true. And I don't know how much time I want to spend. I mean, if you guys want to jump in the comment section of thoughts, I feel like the CM Punk's going somewhere conversation has been ongoing for like years at this point. So again, like I haven't read the full report. I will likely read the full report here shortly after we're done, and we'll maybe talk more about it tomorrow with Paul Pratt. But I am very much believe it. I will believe it when I see it at this point in regards to any of these conversations or rumors. I'm leaning more that Daniel Bryan will sign with AEW than CM Punk at this point, if I had to pick one over the other. So.
And how fun would that be? I mean, out in Chicago, everybody would explode. Just
Yeah. All right. That's we will talk more AEW at the end of the show when we talk about Jake Roberts' new contract. So let's get to the run sheet now that I largely had planned out an hour ago before all this stuff just launched. Hey, live. We're going live. It happens, right?
Yeah.
So Fightful. Back to Fightful. Saying there was said to be a lot of shock and frustration within NXT over NXT champion Karrion Kross losing his official main roster debut against Jeff Hardy on Raw. Several NXT talent and staff were shocked and frustrated with the loss. There was reportedly significant frustration over how Finn Balor, Adam Cole, Johnny Gargano, Santos Escobar, Oney Lorcan, and others had worked hard to keep and help make Kross as dominant as possible during his NXT run. The general mood among some NXT was a not mad, but disappointed vibe, as they felt like this represented how the NXT brand is viewed by WWE higher-ups as a whole. It was noted by one source that the loss felt like a message being sent, though they didn't elaborate on what they thought that message was. Regarding Kross, he appeared to be in good spirits backstage after the match at the Toyota Center in Dallas. One talent did note that Kross was put in an unfavorable position considering his spot as a protected talent on one brand and a new talent on Vince McMahon's brand, WWE Raw. I'm not surprised to be reading something like this. If I was in NXT and I was one of the many guys that had been working to make Karrion Kross look like a big deal, I would also be I don't know. I would maybe be more pissed off than disappointed. That was some straight trash on Monday night.
Triple H has said since the inception of NXT that he wanted to create a separate brand from everything else in WWE. And I think Monday really proved that Triple H was successful because Vince has no idea what's been happening on NXT. I mean, to have Karrion Kross lose like that on Monday, and I understand what the story that they're trying to tell. It looks like Karrion's upset that he's lost, and then he's going to come back and really destroy Jeff Hardy. But it really spits in the face of every single superstar that has lost to Karrion Kross decisively in NXT to build this monster. And here we are. He's just a guy.
Yeah. In at or whatever in underscore the city. To me, I felt it was a message, and I also feel it was a message. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what exactly it is. Like, either Vince just doesn't personally see it with Cross, maybe like Hunter does, or maybe this is you guys couldn't get the job done with AEW, so we're going to make an example of you and what we think of your brand. I've been talking a lot with Paul about how Vince, I think, maybe just yearning for days of old where he could just mess with the territories. And now that the territories are gone, he's just going to make his own that he can like mess around with and take his anger out on when he wants to. But I mean, I don't know, man. It's a wide field of why and what could be happening here with Vince in NXT.
Absolutely. It just feels so deranged, detached. I don't get it, man. This is, and to lose to Jeff Hardy, who's clearly in the twilight of his career. I mean, I know he's got new music and that's great, but oh my God, it just, I don't know. And you see Malachi Black's comments the other day in his interview about the 50-50 booking and all this bipolar booking in WWE. What better example than what we see on Monday? And what message does that send to everyone that works there and everyone that could consider working there? Why would CM Punk want to even look at WWE? Because he knows exactly what they do.
Yeah, one would think. So Samantha here saying, I feel that when there is a call-up that seems to bury them, I think Ciampa and Gargano were smart going back to NXT. They never left NXT, to be fair. Eric Roberts, it completely negates and nullifies NXT as a viable brand. This is brass saying this is still developmental, at least in Vince's eyes. And it was jarring last night on NXT how they just didn't even, they were like, we're not even going to acknowledge what happened on Monday night. We are just going to continue with Cross and Joe as planned. And that to me is the biggest tell that all is not well between Hunter and Vince in communication over how NXT is viewed or handled in the WWE universe at the moment.
Oh my God. I mean, how could you acknowledge it? What could you say? What could anyone say to possibly justify this and make the show still viable? I don't know. It just completely throws a wrench in everything.
You could, like, Joe comes out and he's like, you couldn't even get the job done against Jeff. Reference it to make it part of it. And they were like, no, we don't even want that. We don't even like want to use this as a device to try to tell our story. We would just prefer that this had never happened, and we are just going to move on. I'm very as interesting as what happened on Monday night with Cross. I'm even more interested to see what happens this coming Monday with Cross on Monday Night Raw. Do they try to get the ship back on track, or do they have him lose to somebody else? Does Jackson Riker get a win over Kevin Cross on Monday Night Raw? Right?
Oh man, that would be something.
I don't want.
Wow, you thought of a great name there.
I don't want to put that evil out into the world. I honestly feel bad that I said it, because it's just one of those things that I just, if it happens, I'm gonna feel bad now. You know, I'm gonna feel
what would what's Karrion Kross supposed to do in all of this? Like, I know we've seen stories in the past where wrestlers like Hulk Hogan will say, that doesn't work for me, brother. Like, what do you do as champion of NXT? How could you stand up to Vince McMahon? Is that even possible?
You don't. No, you don't do anything. You show up, you do what they tell you to do. You let Hunter advocate for you and have that fight in the boardroom. And then when the red light goes on, you go out and you do whatever you were told to do. And I'm happy to hear he was in good spirits. I had no idea where his headspace would be after something like this. It was his 36th birthday on Monday, man. They did that on his birthday, right?
Oh, that's so WWE. Yeah. They love to do that. Like something really terrible to someone in their hometown on their birthday, fire you on your wedding day, stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly, man. And that, as somebody who is 36 themselves, I'll tell you, that first step into the back half of your 30s is already a rough step anyway. And, this is doesn't help. This is a little salt in the wounds for sure. So happy to hear he's in good spirits. I don't bemoan Cross for doing his job, but I mean, this is certainly, it's certainly going to make great fodder for Conrad's podcast in like 10 years. When we finally get to hear what was going on, with Hunter and Vince, it's going to be great,
I imagine Bruce will just be surly that day.
Hey, hell, at that point, Hunter might be doing a Conrad podcast, right?
Oh man, wouldn't that be something?
Maybe Conrad will have bought WWE by that point. I don't know, So.
I mean, he could at least give him a loan.
All right, so talking about Monday night, some good news for WWE. WrestleNomics saying Monday's live post Money in the Bank edition of Raw did an average of 1.923 million, just under 2, up 20% from last week. Raw did a 0.57 rating in the 18 to 49. That was up 32.6 from last week. Pro Wrestling Torch saying the first hour did 1.967, stayed steady for the second at 1.936. Little dip in the third for 1.867, but this was the most viewers that Raw has drawn since the post-Mania episode back on April 12th. It's the third highest viewership of the year so far. Actually, the highest of the year so far was actually the first show of the year I was looking at. It's when they did Legends Night to start the year. Monday's Raw viewership up 18% from the same week in 2020. Key 18 to 49 demo up 24%. So good numbers, but I was honestly expecting a little bit better than this.
They were all over Twitter with John Cena's return on Sunday night. So they had a lot of hype everywhere. People were sharing that big pop for John Cena. And that's how much the ratings moved. So I if that doesn't show you how people are watching television right now, and also, the relationship between WWE and their television watching fans, it looks like a lot of people have tuned out.
I do wonder what the effect of some of the booking decisions from Monday, the squashing of Cross, right? And I know some people said that was a squash. That guy got deflated and buried on national television. Keith Lee did not look motivated to be out there doing the JOB for Bobby Lashley. The Jackson Riker babyface push. Nikki Ash cashing in Money in the Bank after 24 hours to take the title randomly. That felt very, very flat to me. I was anticipating Becky Lynch's return at the end of that show. I think a lot of people were. Mm-hmm. I do wonder if, because everybody, you got them all, the flies came back to the light. They saw what you had to present. And I do wonder how many people after watching that will say, I think I'm just going to catch SmackDown. Is this really worth my time and investment if this is what you guys are going to be giving me each Monday night, even now that fans are back and you're supposed to be over the top and everything? I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's hard for a self-respecting person to give 3 hours of their time to this.
Yeah. So Eric Roberts here said ratings boost is great, but they gave people all the pops for certain superstars and booked them miserably. Yeah, a lot of bad booking on Monday night. And I know Becky's in the wings. Goldberg, man, like a fart in the wind. That thing, it happened and nobody's talking about it. I have never seen a Goldberg return get so little coverage. It's wild, man.
Yeah, it seems like the rose, or the bloom, has fallen off the rose with Goldberg. People just aren't interested anymore. I think after the Braun Strowman thing, it was just kind of like, well, whatever. Mm-hmm. He's not special anymore. Nobody's special. They've made it so that no one is special in WWE, which is like just mystifying because we have the most amazing, talented wrestlers in the world in that company.
Yeah. Malice New York here saying everybody knows Roman and Cena are going to be featured on Friday. And yeah, what the hell, man? Like, you start the show telling everybody to tune in on Friday night, and then the guy just leaves? Come on now. Yeah, come on. So, all right. Moving away from viewership numbers here, PWInsider.com reporting it's believed that WWE is keeping The Fiend Bray Wyatt off TV for the time being for reasons that are not related to creative. The belief among some within WWE is that Wyatt's absence is not related to a creative issue. It was previously reported that Wyatt's time away was not a case of the third-generation wrestler having heat for anything, as he is well-liked in the company. It was noted that internally, there is still no timetable for Wyatt's return to active competition for the company. So there you go. Bray Wyatt mysteriously still gone. We don't really know why. I hope he's back in August. You'd like to see. I mean, I'd like to see him doing things again.
I you need to have some sort of spooky character around Halloween. Like I feel like having Bray Wyatt off TV in Halloween season in the fall is a mistake. But it seems like that's the MO for WWE right now, is mistake after mistake and making spectacular talent seem average.
And Ryan W. here saying, how sad is it that they can't find anything for Bray Wyatt? We don't know the story here, right? Like I had heard after Brody Lee passed that Bray took it very, very hard, right? And they were very close friends, and maybe the guy needs space, right? You're struggling with an existential issue, and that kind of a situation that can happen. Maybe it's something with family. Maybe it's a personal call on his part. I mean, it could be anything. I don't want to be too hard on them not using him right now or him not being back, but it would be great to see Bray back in the mix. And it certainly could get Alexa back on the tracks. I mean, Alexa, I guess her and Nikki maybe is going to be the dance of the moment. I don't know,
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to feel invested in anything right now. And Bray's somebody that got people invested.
Absolutely. Well, speaking about getting invested, PWInsider.com, run a PWInsider.com reports today. Great job, Mike. WWE moving forward with Rhea Ripley as a full-fledged babyface. Her babyface turn has quietly happened over the last few weeks. She dropped the Raw title to Flair at Money in the Bank. She then won a rematch by DQ on Raw, but Nikki Ash cashed in her Money in the Bank briefcase, obviously, to win the title like we just discussed here. A quiet babyface turn. We just thought we'd let Charlotte be heel and the people figure it out, I guess.
Just another baffling case. Rhea Ripley was a megastar. She was clearly, next big superstar in the women's division. And now here she is, average. Just another guy or gal, whatever,
Yeah. Well, at least she picked a lane. At least it's like we finally have some clarity on what Rhea Ripley's role will be, because man, since she debuted on Raw, I have had no idea if I'm supposed to cheer or boo Rhea Ripley. If we're going the babyface route, hell yeah. Let me cheer Rhea Ripley. Book her like a babyface. Just book her one way or another, honestly.
We just want to care. Give me something to care about. Anything.
Yeah. We also have here talking about the women again from Mike over at PW Insider. Toni Storm scheduled to work as a babyface on WWE's main roster. She'd been working as a heel in NXT as of late, but word now is that the plan is for her to be a babyface on SmackDown. She's going to make her SmackDown debut this Friday night. We'll see, man. Let's roll the dice. Let's see how an NXT talent gets booked in, Vince McMahon's universe. Ew.
Yeah, I mean, she has an advantage in that she's blonde, but that didn't completely help Mandy Rose. So we'll see what happens. Who are the heels left on SmackDown? We have Carmella. Is Sasha gonna turn heel? Obviously Becky can't be. The fans just absolutely love Becky. Right. So what heels are left in the women's division? Is Naomi going to turn heel? I don't think she has any business being a heel.
I'm pro Naomi heel turn right now. I'm pro her.
Yeah.
I'm pro. I think you build to it. I think you have her kind of trying to pull Jimmy away from Roman, but ultimately kind of sees the light and, decides, she needs a good story. She needs a new coat of paint. They're not doing anything with her right now. Give her something to sink her teeth into. And a heel turn for Naomi would probably result, after it's all said and done, with an even bigger baby face push on the other side for her. So I'm all about it. I think Naomi is a heel over at SmackDown. Sign me up. I'd give it a shot.
Okay. All right. I just feel like there's no heels. There's so few. We need heels.
Yeah. So we have a couple write-ins here. Let's see. Where was the stuff about? Yeah, okay. So we have Alonzo here. Rhea has been a babyface ever since she's been feuding with Charlotte. She was a heel against Asuka. Yes, again.
Yeah.
Confusing. Eric Roberts, Rhea has money written all over her, and she has creatively floundered since WrestleMania at the PC. Agree with that. Decimation Jones, Naomi as a heel, I don't know. Dina Garofalo saying Naomi will face Toni Storm, then she snaps when she loses to her and reveals she is with the Bloodline. Yeah,
could deal with that. That's a fun
sure.
fantasy book there.
Well, we have another update on the whole run of update on the females in WWE. Fightful saying Xia Li, okay, backstage last night at NXT. Of course, last night's NXT main event saw NXT Women's Champion Raquel Gonzalez retain the title over Lee. There was an incident towards the end of the match where Gonzalez delivered this like twisting splash from the second rope. The match had to be stopped while a referee and medics checked on Lee ringside after a few minutes. Lee did get back up. The match resumed. Gonzalez immediately grabbed Lee, delivered her finisher for the pin to end the match. So first of all, what a trooper. She was obviously a ton of pain and was able to finish the match. So bravo. What was your reaction here to watching this play out, Brian?
Oh, it looked like she did everything she could to protect herself, but things just were landing just a little bit off. I don't know. It looked like she might have cracked some ribs. Maybe something on her hip there too, a little bit. The way Raquel Gonzalez landed, I try to watch it back a few times.
Yeah, I don't want to glorify this moment because it's terrible. Somebody got hurt, but man, that twisting elbow drop off the second rope is going to have a lot more stakes to it when Raquel delivers that thing, and she just needs to not, land full on. She dropped all of her weight on that poor girl, and
yes,
tweak the execution, but that move going forward is going to have more impact for sure when she does it. Yeah.
Oh man. And can you imagine being Xia Li taking that finish after you bruise your ribs or crack your ribs or something? That had to hurt even more.
Yeah. A couple people, Eric Roberts saying Raquel throwing some payback for Mercedes, Alonzo Smith, with Xia Li last night at NXT. I feel like it was karma because she knocked out Mercedes Martinez. Remember that scary ass kick that dropped Mercedes a couple weeks ago? Jeez.
Yeah, I guess so. Man, you guys are ruthless. Yeah, it's possible. Could have been a receipt. I don't know.
WWE has released several graphic photos and videos of the welts and abrasions on Shanky's back after he took that steel chair beat down from Drew McIntyre on Raw. Did you see these photos of Shanky, Brian?
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, Drew knows it to work, right?
It was like, what did he ever do? And what kind of, I don't know how much he got paid that day, but it wasn't worth it.
Dude, when Mick Foley is on Twitter being like, you've gone too far, then you've gone too far, right? Maybe you're trying to get some sympathy, prove this guy's toughness, dumb. It's like when they had Dominic debut and then they had Seth Rollins beat the shit out of him with a kendo stick for 3 months. Do you remember that?
It felt like a hazing. It looked like a fraternity hazing thing. It felt really gross. And I felt like I was, witnessing, some horrible hazing.
Yeah, that's what this felt like. This feels a lot like what happened with Dominic. It's just like, you're the new guy. We want to show you that can prove your toughness. So we're going to have Drew literally injure you and brutalize you on national television. It's dumb.
Yeah.
All right. Lastly here, before we get to Tucker part 1, and again, that'll be on YouTube here in about half an hour for all you watching us live. WWE employee, former ECW champion Steve Corino, coming out of retirement to wrestle his son Colby Corino. Corino versus Corino is going to take place at the Premier Wrestling Federation's next event on Friday, August 27th in North Carolina. This will be Colby's 25th anniversary show. It's weird to call a birthday an anniversary show, but he's turning 25, and this is how he's celebrating. He's wrestling his dad.
I think that's so fun. I'm excited to see it, and I'm excited to see how the match goes. Do you think it'll be technical to start, and then somebody's gonna get somebody upset, and then they'll start striking a little bit more? Yeah.
I think Steve's gonna make his son bleed. I think they're both gonna bleed. I think it's gonna be just a real carny blood muck fest.
Like Cody versus Dustin a bit.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I think so. But it'll be very, very good. I'm sure of that. So I'll be interested to check it out as well. All right. Well, Brian, thank you for talking with me about all the news of the day at the top of the show. Thank you to Tucker. That's only part one. We're going to release part two, I believe, next week, getting a little bit more into his main roster run. This very fascinating story he told me about how he was sent to Saudi Arabia 2 weeks before everybody else for the Greatest Royal Rumble to help run the Saudi Arabian tryouts with Matt Bloom, and just what it was like for him to be in Saudi Arabia for 2 weeks, right? I did not know that this is a thing that happened, and I was very intrigued to hear him tell me about that,
Yeah, I had no idea about that either. That's going to be a big story. I think that'll be really fun.
A lot of Saudi talk next week. I got Arya Davari part 2 next week. A lot of Saudi talk in that one. I mean,
I can't wait for the Saudi Dark Side of the Ring.
Sure. All right. Well, today we're going to dive into the mailbag to wrap up the show at Wink Daily, WINC Daily, over on Twitter. If you'd like to give us a follow, we are at 1,099 followers as I check right now. So you could be lucky number 1,100 if you go follow us today. Today's poll is based off the report, or not a report. It was a conversation. Jake Roberts, DDP. They had it for DDP's YouTube channel. Jake confirmed he has signed a new 2-year deal with AEW. So I asked everybody, if Jake Roberts has one more match and it's an AEW, who do you want it to be against? Lance Archer, Jon Moxley, Darby Allin, or somebody else? 250 plus votes here last hour. 48.4 Moxley, 24.8 Lance Archer, 12.4 Darby Allin, and 14.3 for somebody else. How do you feel about a potential one more match for Jake? Is there anybody you'd like to see him wrestle?
I mean, as unlikely as it is for health and all sorts of reasons, I'm going to forget all that and just pretend. And for me, the way I'd book it, I'd do Roberts versus Moxley and do it like Roberts when he was going after Macho Man at his wedding, and he put the Cobra in the wedding gift to Miss Elizabeth. I feel like he's got to go to the first birthday of Moxley's son and just attack Moxley's family and just go after Renee and just do all that sick Jake Roberts stuff that he was so great at and just terrifying us all. Have a Cobra bite Moxley in the arm in the middle of the ring. Like I'm all that stuff. That's what I want to see.
I bet Mox would take the Cobra bite.
You totally would.
Really go for it. I think Moxley would be a great pick. I think Lance Archer would be fun too. The eventual blow off. I'm not as anti one more match for Jake, just because Jake is one of the greatest pro wrestling storytellers of all time. I think even with all of the hurdles that he has, he could put together something that would be compelling if he wanted to do that.
He could, maybe the match could start with the Cobra bite, and so then he's disabled his opponent.
So we have here some write-ins on Twitter. At the Buscat, Soul Train Jones would give him the meat sauce.
Man, wouldn't that be a great match?
Go check that acid trip out, everybody. If you haven't watched that version review I did, that thing was wild. At Decline 70, Jake Roberts versus Scott Hall for the DDP Yoga Championship. That'd be funny. I hope they're both doing well. We have here at Non-John Cena 7. I'd be fine with him doing a tag match with Lance, where the extent of his in-ring action is him getting the hot tag at the end, coming in, give a DDT, get the pin, but he shouldn't wrestle anymore. And honestly, I could actually see that happening, Yeah.
I'd love it. Who doesn't love a great DDT from Jake?
Classic Wrestling 6, him and Sting can have a Metamucil Mayhem match. Oh, wow. I had to slowly sound that word out. At Joshua D7071118, it would be cool if he does a tag match with Lance. Yeah, I'm more for that. Corey F. and Frazier said me for making this a poll, and then there was just a lot of people who wrote, no, I do not want to see another Jake Roberts match. So, and then the last one I'll read here from Twitter at Ed Betzel. Arn Anderson. Wouldn't that be something? Arn Anderson versus Jake Roberts in 2021.
Oh man, I think it'd be fun as long as Jake is tormenting someone and the build is like a month or two of him just showing up at their house, at their hotel, outside their car, just snakes everywhere.
Antonio Garcia saying you could have Soul Train Jones train Jake Roberts back into wrestling shape. Yeah, he's coaching him on. He's eating a big thing of Olive Garden, right? Throwing breadsticks at him. Oh, I'd be all about it. Why not?
Oh man,
gotta win. Gotta get that meat sauce. Anyway, that's it today for the show. We've talked a lot of wrestling. I'm going to go and wow, I have no idea what this crazy thing is. That the user's been blocked. We'll be back tomorrow. On tomorrow's show, Scott Fishman landed an interview with Mojo Rawley promoting G.I. Joe, of which Rawley is in. So come on back tomorrow for the interview with Mojo Rawley that Scott Fishman got. It's great. Also on the show tomorrow, I'll have Paul Pratt, Polio Del Mar co-hosting with me. If you like the Wrestling Inc. Daily, support WrestlingInc.com. We're on all your favorite social media platforms. And check out the Wrestling Inc. podcast at night after all the big shows. It goes live here on our YouTube and socials, and you can subscribe to that on whatever podcast platform you like as well. Brian, what do you want to plug, promote, put over here to wrap up the show today?
Well, tonight you can see me in Los Angeles at the Dynasty Typewriter Theater, opening for Lou Berger, who was just on America's Got Talent last night with Terry Crews. Oh, wow. Terry took his shirt off and played the flute, while Keith took his shirt off and played the French horn. I don't know if the fellas will be topless tonight, but I can guarantee that I will, in fact, be wearing a shirt. So come on out. And and it also, we've been talking a lot of Olive Garden. You can check me out on Eat the Menu, eating the entire menu of the Olive Garden with Keith.
I've watched that, and that was a tough watch. I felt bad for everyone involved on that one.
We're taping Outback Steakhouse on Friday. I'm excited.
Yeah, whole bloomin' onion, right?
Oh my God. I'm gonna take some Metamucil, just like Sting, and we'll be in good shape after eating the menu of Outback Steakhouse.
Got to get that sweet mukbang money, right? Isn't that what they call it? Mukbang?
Mukbang. Yeah.
My favorite word. Mukbang. Gotta get that mukbang money. Mucky bang. All right. Anyway, I'm in a weird mood today. It's middle of the week. I'm just having fun. All right, everybody. I'm at Nick_Hausman over on Twitter. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I will talk to you tomorrow. And remember, if you winked, you didn't miss it.